Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. We are running into our favorite video of each and every weekday. To end this week, we are looking at the player props video today. Did go 3-1 on Thursday night, so still having a really nice week this weekend, staying well above 500 since January 1st, probably still up about 34.5 units or so. So hope you guys are riding with us on these. Nate does have his great article up on playpicks.com as well with some best bets and player props in there for you. And make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Got a couple other videos up for you tonight on this 7-game Friday night slate. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to ftpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight's play of props. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, we got an interesting matchup in Boston with the top-rated offense, the Nuggets, and the top-rated defense in the Celtics over the last 15 games here in the NBA. And that's why I like Nikola Jokic. I mean, you can look at Boston's numbers. They're impressive across the board, but they do allow the fifth highest percentage of points off twos because they're denying threes, denying free throws, and that kind of plays into Joker's hands. For some recent example, the three of the teams that are above the Celtics in terms of giving up an even higher percentage of twos are the Nets and Mavs. Joker averages 26.5 points, 12 boards his last two versus the Nets, and 31 and 16 in his last two against the Mavs, who are another elite defensive team, sort of in the same mold as the Celtics. He's got some value here at 24.5 points because his scoring has been down in his last two road games. It was a blowout either way. The Nuggets blew out the Bucks. They got blown out in Minnesota. In his previous three road games, he averaged 27.7 and 14.7. As always, you like the points and rebounds combined with Joker. He's leading the league in total rebounds, and his defensive rebounding rate is up 10 points from last year. So 37.5 there if you want to add the rebounds, slightly worse odds. Look, he's not going to have trouble scoring on jumpy Rob Williams, as I might call him. He likes to try to block shots and could wind up in foul trouble. And we might see old Celtic Daniel Tice back in the game, who somebody hilariously mentioned that the NBA officials have assigned him 2 fouls as soon as he was traded back to the Celtics. So he'll have some trouble guarding Jokic as well, who has had 30 points and 43 points on 66 field goal shooting his last 2 trips to Boston. So I like when the going gets tough, Jokic to get it going and to post a higher usage rate and score more points.
I'm actually waiting for the day soon coming that you're going to start betting again on the Celtics and picking them because, I mean, they're a very good team now. I cannot believe that we keep saying how good they are. But either way, yeah, Joker against this team who hasn't had a proper defensive center in a while, to be honest with you, since Papa Al could probably move a little bit better. And so, yeah, in his first stint with the Celtics, not this one. So, yeah, I would say that you're definitely in the right spot here. You're picking against a team, in terms of taking Joker to score on the Celtics team that obviously has been giving up about 94 points a game over the course of their last 10 or so. Really, really good defensive team. But like you said, it comes at a different place that they're playing that really good defense as they're locking up teams specifically on the 3-point line very, very well and allowing teams like Joker to at least get a couple twos inside when you don't have an inside presence to guard him with jumpy Rob Williams, as you call him. So I'm good with Joker there. I'm going to move on to another guy that we like to target every now and again, Dejounte Murray on the Spurs. 21.5 points right now is minus 110 at FanDuel. The assists are a little bit scary. I know he's been shelling out dimes, but 10.5 assists to add to that point total is a little bit much. You might consider the rebounds at 29.5. He's playing a Hawks team, that definitely puts up a lot of shots and has a pretty efficient offense as of late, to be honest. So not quite sure how you feel about that. I think I'm sticking with the points, to be honest. And the starting point for us here is Derek White is no longer on this team. As we know, he got traded, I believe, to those Celtics. So what we're looking at in terms of DJ Murray here without Derek White in 5 games this season, his points per game jumps from about 19 to 26.5. His usage rate jumps 6 percentage points, as well as, there's a lot fewer guys who can shoot on the floor when Derek White's off of it for the Spurs. So yeah, DJ has been super hot as of late as well. Looking at the last 14 for him, about 23 points a game, 28.5% usage rate. And Atlanta, we know what they do in terms of giving up points. We talk about this a lot in terms of opposing point guards because you want to eye somebody like Trey, who's not exactly on the floor for his defense defensive prowess, and that to the tune of an individual defensive rating of 117. So you know that they're going to be able to give up points. They give up the most assists to point guards. They give up in the top 5. They give up the most points to point guards as well. I guess bottom 5 if you're looking at it that way. So I think it's a really good matchup for Dejounte in a game where he's finally playing, without another backcourt mate that can really do anything. His usage rate should remain super high, as it does when guys like Derek White are not on the floor.
Yeah, and his usage rate has been a little bit higher in these non-conference matchups. He averages 2 more points per game against the East. Teams that just don't seem as familiar with him, or for whatever reason, he brings it more. He had 22, 8, and 11 against the Hawks in November, and the Hawks give up the most assists per game to point guards already. And in their last 7, they're giving up the most by far, 11.5 dimes per game. That's why you see the prop so high for his assists. You do get plus odds there, but I'm with you. I just think the points, I think the Spurs are starting to revolve around this guy more and more as they just look towards the rebuild and him as the centerpiece. So moving Derek White out of town only confirms that. Speaking of revolving your offense around Lamelo Ball, that is exactly what the Hornets are going to have to do. And I do think they're going to get this win here in Detroit, not really going out on a limb. Detroit has been the worst team in the league over their last 15 games or so. But I'm looking for Lamelo to continue to ramp up his scoring because Gordon Hayward's out. Yeah. With Gordon Hayward, he's been filling up the stat sheet, pretty consistently going below 20 points. But without him, 6 straight games now, 28 points per game, 7 rebounds, 7.5 assists. His usage rate up to 30%. And in the last 2 specifically, where the Hornets have been really desperate for a win here, posted a 35% usage rate and dropped a career-high 38 on the Celtics, went 4 for 10 from 3. Went even higher usage rate, 36 against the Bulls, dropped 33 points, 9 rebounds, disappointed us with 5 dimes. The assists are always kind of fleeting. I mean, that's what they are in terms of a stat. The other guy has to hit the shot, has to not get fouled, etc. But what you can lean on is this usage and the threes. Again, he went 5 for 10 from 3 in that game. You get some juicy performance doubles here for Lamelo to keep cooking the way he has and for Charlotte to finally snap this 6-game skid. So 4 threes in a win at plus 380 is worth a look against Detroit, which is dead last in three-point defense, giving up 42% in their last 7, also allowing 116 points per game in that span. I like Lamelo to get over 22.5 points for sure. That's well below his average here without Gordo. If you think he can get 25 in a win, that is plus 200 at FanDuel as well. I really like these performance doubles tonight because, like I said, Charlotte should win this game. They really need to win this game.
Yeah, and it's not really necessarily about the ancillary stats for him in this one. It is about the points. You mentioned how those just dramatically rise when Gordo's not in there. 28 points per game in the last 6 without Gordo, is very indicative of it's a huge jump, right? Because he's averaging about less than 20 on the season. So it's wild how much that helps. If you want to look at why it starts, obviously the usage rate. I mean, he's shooting the ball 20 times a game when Gordo's not in there, versus his roughly 14 field goal attempts when Gordo is in there. So not really surprising that he's able to eat more and score more specifically when Gordon Hayward is not playing. So love that one for him. Lastly, let's go back to the well on DeMar because he's playing in a game that is supposed to total about 240 points, according to where that line is set in the Bulls and Wolves game. Easy for me to say. We're actually recording this a bit early on this Friday morning, and we were pretty sure DeMar's points total based on some of the player performance doubles you can get on FanDuel right now, about 30 points, and a win for him is one of those. So we're looking at about 28.5 points for DeMar on this one. And I think you just stick with the points. He has been filling up the stats pretty much all over, to be honest with you. But tonight is a game where, I think it's just going to be a lot of run and gun, as we know, with the Wolves playing at the pace that they play on the road. That's really where I'm starting because we already know DeMar's playing at home, which is where he's very, very good, especially in the fourth quarter. And so, we already like that. But then you look at him playing the Wolves and obviously the total of this game and how many points are expected to be scored. It's because of the Wolves in their last 15 are allowing the second most points per game overall. The most in their overall to opposing small forwards, the second most. So you see the spot where DeMar is going to be on the floor being the spot where the Wolves are giving up a ton of their points for the most part. They've gone over, the Wolves have, in 16 of their last 19 games. I mentioned allowing 117 points on the road. The Bills team total is about 122 and a half. It's a little bit scary, like we were saying in the video that we talk about this game. Not sure I love picking two teams to score above 120 in the same game, but I do feel like this is at least a nice total that's showing you there's going to be a ton of points scored, and we know that the bulk of those are going to come from DeMar and Zach LaVine, probably looking to average or to combine for about 60 tonight. So you've got to feel good about DeMar getting over 20 and a half in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple math, really. If the Bulls are going to hit this team total of 122 and DeRozan's going to continue his usage rate, which is 34% over his last 12, he's scoring 33 points per game. He's shooting nearly 60% from the field. In fact, he is exactly at that number in his last 6 home games. Then, yeah, he's going to get over 30 points in a game like this. That's just straight up DraftKings so far. We have 30-plus points at plus 110 odds. I assume when the player performance doubles come up at FanDuel, you can get 30 points in a win at even better odds. The Bulls are only minus 3.5 right now. We do mention in the game video, we would take them up to 4.5 for sure to win this game. Minnesota has not really won when they're underdogs too often. They've just been scoring and just having a lot of fun here going back and forth. And as long as Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell are playing, which they are expected to play, I have seen some props up for them, first basket, et cetera. I think they will get into another shootout with these Bulls, and we should see another great game from DeRozan.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we picked the Bulls to win this one, and if one of Ant or D'Lo sit, we feel even better about it. But I kind of just want to watch a really fun game on a Friday night, so I hope they do play. And I still think that the Bulls can pull this one out, as we mentioned in the video. Way better fourth quarter team. Expect DeMar to get his down the stretch as well, so we know he's going to keep eating no matter what. Like you said, if there's going to be 122 points scored, and he's going to have a usage rate around 35%. He's going to need to be scoring those 30 points. So that is all the time we have for you on this one as we look to stay super hot with these player props for you. So make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page and check out those other couple videos today. And until we see you next, happy betting.